Hi everybody, it's Lorraine Murray here at Connected Kids, where we try to teach lots of adults how to teach kids meditation. I haven't been around for a few weeks because I've been in the USA teaching, and I have come back very inspired by not only the courses that we were teaching by, but the people that we met and the people who were hosting us as well, who were absolutely fantastic. So I'm extremely grateful to them, because it just means that we've planted a few more seeds with people so that they can take this into their communities and start to work with children, help give these children life skills, and also to help change their lives as well. So I thought that for the next couple of weeks I would maybe just concentrate on what each of these sessions were like, and maybe highlight any kind of little snippets of information that came up which I think are quite helpful, as well as give a shout out to some of the hosts who were involved. So this week is Cincinnati, where I was teaching a few weeks ago, and Cincinnati was organised by, the sessions I was running were organised by Child Focus in Cincinnati, which is a training organisation. And they were absolutely amazing. A very different environment to the one I'm normally teaching in, so quite office-like, which is fine because sometimes I'm in health centres or yoga studios, so it's all quite different. But a wonderful bunch of people, and very, very dedicated to the need to start to take this into communities. Renee, who was the person who originally approached me about this, she runs a yoga business and also teaches children meditation and yoga at her company called Spirited Growth, and you can Google for her in Cincinnati. And she also is kind of specialises in working with children with attention issues, or if they're on the autism spectrum as well. And so that was the first person I really wanted to thank. And the second person is Melanie, who's from Child Focus, who couldn't be there unfortunately, but came on her week off to come and say hi, which was really lovely. So I'm really grateful to Melanie too. But the session was run over 3 days, so back to back. And not everybody did the second level, but a lot of people did the first level. And some of the things that came out of that, which I think are quite important, is that when we're thinking about children with attention problems, we tend to focus on their age. So our child should be able to focus at this particular age, and a child should be able to focus at that particular age. And I think all children are different. I think that sometimes, because they are on the autistic spectrum, it can make it very challenging for them to be able to focus and concentrate. So it's nothing to do with age. They could be 13, 14 years old and still only have the attention span of like a 5 or 6 year old. So when we're developing meditation ideas, we really have to think about that. Think about how we can hold their attention and for how long. And not to be disappointed if it's only for 30 seconds or a minute here or a couple of minutes there. Because if you repeat that frequently throughout the day, you start to build in this sense of mindfulness meditation into different aspects of life. So it doesn't become this big ceremony of sitting down to meditate. It becomes as normal as breathing, as natural as breathing, and we incorporate it into that as often as possible. And I also noticed when I was watching television in America, and this is something, if any of you are in the States, to consider, I think we're not that great in the UK either, is that television programs and adverts seem to be designed to encourage a really short attention span. I mean, I actually found myself watching some American TV and becoming irritated and stressful because of the number of adverts that just kept flying in, and the way that TV programs just seem to be dumbed down. So you maybe just want to pay attention to that. I'm not asking for you to change the whole way that television is delivered in the States, but maybe, of course, limiting the amount of time that children spend watching TV, and just being very aware of how exposed they are to the advertising that goes on there. The other thing that came out of Cincinnati was this listening to your inner teacher. I'm a really ordinary person, which I hope you can tell from this video blog, I don't want anyone to put me on a pedestal or stand on ceremony for me. And yet when I teach on courses, especially when I travel, I really notice that people are really hanging on my every word. So I really encourage them not to do that, which might sound a bit strange because they come on a course. You know, if they read my book, of course they're supposed to listen to everything and jot everything down. But actually, the best teacher is your own teacher, your inner teacher, I call it. And my job in teaching the courses is to encourage that. It's to make sure that you listen to that way before me or anyone else. Because I know from my own experience of being on courses or reading books that sometimes when I'm in that place, it feels like I'm being told what to do and that this is the only way. And of course, you end up being disappointed if it doesn't work for you, or you think you've done something wrong. Or perhaps you think that the teacher, i.e. me, is wrong. Well, maybe sometimes I am, because that situation that you're in with your child or the children you're teaching, it just doesn't work. So what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is to encourage people to really respond to their inner teacher, to respond to their intuition and their creative imagination. Because if you work with that, then that's the most powerful way to learn how to teach children meditation. I've said before, you can look at the children as your teachers, but realise that you have the potential within you to really do anything in terms of teaching children meditation, and it's important for you to recognise that. And then the other thing that I realised as I was teaching is that I really kind of turn meditation or teaching of meditation to kids on its head. It's not just a condensed form of adult meditation. That's not what teaching children is about. It's way more fun for a start. No offence, adults. But it is, because you get to be much more creative in the imagination if you're using guided imagery or a guided visualization or a journey. Or if you're using kind of more mindfulness tools, again, you can be much more playful and creative with that. Sometimes we can use sound to actually make sounds but be aware of it, and that creates a sense of mindful awareness as we do it. So, you know, it's really about having a little bit of playfulness and fun when we're teaching meditation to children. I do appreciate as young people get older and they're in their teens that's maybe not quite so appropriate. But certainly when we're working with the younger age groups, we have to engage their interests. We have to make it interesting for them, you know, and to show them, engage them. And then once they start to try it, then they find that they enjoy it as much as you or I. So those were just some of the little hints and tips. Oh, one other thing which I thought was a great idea, this came from Renee from Spirited Growth, was about how some children find it, especially on the autistic spectrum, they find it quite difficult to cope with the sense of space around them. You know, they feel quite overwhelmed on their sensory processing disorder that they may have. And one of the things that Renee talked about doing was what she called the burrito roll. And it was basically children would wrap themselves up in a blanket, you know, quite tightly, swaddled almost, like, you know, babies are when they're in the crib. And that made them feel very safe, very, very safe. And from my point of view, that's a really good idea, because the sense of touch and pressure it gives is great for these children. It gives them a sense of boundaries, which is really difficult sometimes for them to kind of be able to sense because of the sensory processing disorder. And it's a great way to help them stay still when you're talking them through a meditation, because they're all nicely wrapped up through their own choice. So thank you very much, Renee, for that. I thought I'd give you a little mention again. So just some thoughts and ideas that came from my teaching in Cincinnati. And do realise that if you wanted me to come and teach where you are, that is extremely possible, because I really want to spread this as far as possible. But just drop me an email at info@teachchildrenmeditation.com, just expressing an interest. It may work out, it may not, but we can at least have a chat about it. Thanks for listening, and have a great time teaching your kids meditation.